My name's Mike Savitch. I am co-owner of CrossFit Praxis in Washington, D.C., and I have been CrossFitting since 2005. I grew up in the Virgin Islands. I grew up surfing, started surfing when I was 4. My dad was a competitive swimmer and tennis player, and he honed me in to be a baseball player. My grandfather was a baseball player, so that was my deal. So I started playing baseball in the Virgin Islands at 7. And yeah, that carried me through till my college days. I got a pretty bad injury, tore my ACL, and that pretty much was a career ender. In 1995, well actually in 1994, I got a call to push for the Virgin Islands bobsled team, and I opted out of it that year, but then after I got hurt, I needed some competitive fire still, so I said yes and started bobsledding in 1995. He had always known as me as a pretty decent athlete growing up, and he called me up on it, and he was like, I need someone athletic who can push, run fast, who's strong, and I was like, you guys are crazy. I didn't even believe him, but so when I said no, I was playing baseball, I was being scouted, and that was my dream. I watched opening ceremonies, and there they are, and I'm like, wow. They weren't kidding. And then, like I said, after my injury, I was like, I called him up, I said, you still want me to push? And he was like, fuck yeah, I do. And he was like, you're the best athlete I know. So I started pushing in 95. Calgary, Canada was my first ice experience. Very, very cold, very fast, and very scary. I was the last guy in on the 4-man team. It's called the Brakeman. So it's the initial push with the middleman, the first middleman and second middleman pushing too, but I'm the initial hit and the last guy in, and then pulling the brakes at the end. So gotta be as fast as possible, because the other guys with you get the sled going pretty good. The last thing you want to do is be slower than the sled's moving and hold it back. So you got to really be able to run with it and keep it going a little bit faster before you jump in. Then you're in, and then it's hold on tight for a terrible ride. Some turns on these tracks that make you feel 3 G's of force, and it just sucks the air out of you. Talk about like a Fran. This is like Fran on steroids, and you haven't even lifted a weight. It's yeah, it's the shuttle, I think, feels maybe 1 or 2 G's as it takes straight, off straight up. And there's turns on tracks that are 360, and you feel like 3, 4 G's. It's amazing. You're going 85, 90 miles an hour, and it just takes everything out of you. You feel like you sprinted 500 meters, all out at the end of a minute run. Just the G-forces alone, like the initial push is a 30-meter sprint. And I'm probably doing the majority of the 30 meters. The first 2 guys, the pilot gets in after about 10, 15 meters. Second middleman, or first middleman gets in, at the 20 meter, second middleman at the 25, and then me at the 30. So it's only a 30-meter sprint pushing a 600-pound sled, but you're so gassed by the end, hitting all the turns and having the air sucked out of you, that it feels like you sprinted a mile. There's only like now 14 or 15, maybe 16 tracks in the world, bobsled tracks. So, everybody's got to go do their track training somewhere. So as far as like training, it doesn't matter if it's a cold weather country or an island, warm weather country. Training is training. It's a lot of sprinting, a lot of plyos, a lot of Olympic lifts. Getting strong and fast is key. And then once wintertime comes, you got 3-4 months to travel around to other tracks and get your ice time. So anybody can train anywhere and do this. It's just a matter if you're crazy enough to do it. You have to compete either on the America's Cup or the World Cup or the Europa Cup. And you have to gather your points to qualify for the Olympics. So regardless if you're the Germans, the Swiss, United States, or the Virgin Islands, you have to qualify, and we did every year. 88, 94, 98, 2002. I retired after 2002. I was done with it. The energy was amazing. The crowd was amazing. It was just an incredible experience to walk out in opening ceremonies with 60,000 people. You know, even though they're not there just for you, they're still cheering for you, you know, and it's just amazing experience. After the Olympics, it was great because I was like, I took a little bit of a break, 2002, 2003, you know, I took a little break, and then I found CrossFit, and CrossFit was adapting everything from the Olympic lifts to the cardiovascular aspect to strength endurance, and I was like, sweet, I'm sold, because I was getting so bored with just straight lifting, and I needed something a little bit more competitive and driven. So 2005, I think I was just like YouTubing or Googling or something, and this workout came up, and I can't even remember what it was, but I sucked at it. I mean, it took me probably 45 minutes. I think it was like maybe one of those like 300 workouts or 500 workouts or something that has like, it was chipped away. And yeah, it took me like 45 minutes to do. And I just remember like, man, this is just killing me, and I need to work up to get better at this and do better at this. So I just started looking at the main site and doing main site workouts, and then finding other workouts on the internet and piecing them together and doing them, creating my own. And then all of a sudden I came back to that first workout like 6 months later, and went from 45 minutes to like 18 minutes. And then I did it like another year later, went from 18 minutes to like 16 minutes. And I'm like, and that's all I did was CrossFit. So it really upped the ante on my fitness level.